All right, welcome to second intermission analysis on all the KFAN social media channels. I'm Brandon Mileski. He's Pat Micheletti. Wild now trailing 3-1 after 2 periods in Los Angeles to the Kings. And Pat, let's begin with the goaltending because they haven't really talked about it a whole lot on at least the television broadcast. But is Devin Dubnyk still on the team? It looks like a Devin Dubnyk performance to me.
It appears that way. The second goal kind of, it went off Dumba and then, to a breaking, pronounce his name for me, goal.
Anesthesia or something like that.
Yeah, anesthesia. That's what we'll call him.
Yeah.
And then the second or the third goal, looking at the replay, Soucy's got to get, he's got to get Kempe out of there. I mean, he's got to tie him up. It was just kind of like, I don't know if it was a lazy play, Brandon, but in that area, you fight. You fight. You make him, if not knock him down, something. And it was too easy.
Well, not only that,
it was too easy.
On that third one, Talbot was just kind of laying on the ice on the other side of the post and really made no effort.
Yeah, he was right. But
and even going back to the first goal before the first intermission, as bad of a defensive breakdown, and I'm not gonna throw the blame towards Talbot. I still thought that was a weird goal for him to give up, just kind of a puck sitting right in front of you, and he kind of missed it in the dive. Still one that a goalie could have prevented, even though there was a breakdown in front of you. The second one, Ryan Suter's foot speed is not there right now.
Nope.
You don't see him get caught flat-footed like that very often. And Jeff Carter goes right around him. But even that one, it goes off a Dumba's skate and then onto Anesthesia's stick. But still not the best rebound control on a shot that shouldn't have been too difficult to handle. No. I don't know. I'm not watching this game thinking the Kings are 2 goals better than the Wild.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? You create. You make your own bed, right? And just too many little mistakes that are so preventable. You don't give up that goal at the end of the period. You're up 1-0 going into the second. They score. They go to the locker room thinking, "Hey, we're back in it now." Not our best period. We've got some energy now, and they won the second period, and fixable, yeah, but it's not a team that you should be making those mistakes against.
Obviously, we're 2 periods into the year, so we're going to have tons of overreaction, but guess what? We have to comment on something. So
yep.
If we're overreacting, but we can only comment on what we've seen. And Spitz 102.
Yeah, we call it like it is.
Yep. Spitz 1021 says Suter looks lost, slow, and throwing pucks around. Other than the play there on the goal where he looked completely flat-footed, I haven't noticed too much else from him that's too alarming. But I would say, if you remember, Pat, this is one of my concerns in the offseason, and I felt like wasn't talked about at all. He got hurt Game 3 against Vancouver in that series. Right. And it was the same ankle foot injury that he had previously had a very serious injury for. So you don't know if he's fully healthy with that or if he'll ever be the same. 2, even if it is healthy, maybe he didn't have the same offseason training you might be able to do and not be kind of up to speed. That was a concern for me going into the season. And like I said, just 2 periods in, and it could just have been one, bad little moment because every player makes a mistake. But that is still a little bit of a concern for me moving forward. And the fact that the Wild have started him on the second pairing, I think is also says something.
He, he plays at the same speed. There's never a burst of speed from him, and so it's hard to tell, but you can tell when he turns. No question about it. But game 1, you give him a break a little bit, and but yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, no doubt about it.
One thing I was very encouraged about in that period, Pat, even though they did not score a power play goal, I think this power play looks different. Now, the power play was improving last year when Kevin Fiala went on that run and kind of decided to go through Kevin Fiala. This is the first time, and two periods in, I might be overreacting. this is the first time in a long time I've seen the Wild have two dangerous players on the power play. I think Kaprizov, you could just tell his confidence got even greater in that period. And you put him out there with an extra man. They're moving around a lot more than they have in the past. He's just making little passes to set up other guys. I think his hockey IQ is through the roof.
Brandon, you can tell a guy who has good hockey IQ if he knows where the puck is and is around the puck. And he was their best forward that period, no question in my mind. I tweeted out and I'm looking ahead, but there will be a day when those two are on a line together with the proper center. And that may not be till next year. Who knows when it's going to be? Maybe it'll be sometime this year. I don't know, but they will be on a line together when this team gets to the point where they are, thinking about contending and getting to that point. Because together with them on the ice is awfully, awfully good. And we're only seeing it on the power play and maybe here or there, but man, Kaprizov can play off of Fiala really, really well. He doesn't have that blazing speed, but he's in the right spots, knows where to go. And I just think those two together at some point when they will be very dynamic.
Well, the Kaprizov, I think, can play with anybody just because he's so smart. But he makes a lot of little plays. There's a power play chance where all of a sudden, he made a pass to Dumba that I think Dumba thought
he had
never thought he could make that play and wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Or otherwise, he would have had a shot wide open in the slot. We've been talking about trying to acquire a number one center at some point. Obviously, you're most likely have to do it in the draft, which is disappointing that Marco Rossi has started the season off with the upper body injury, and who knows how long he's going to be out. And even when he does come back, to step right into the National Hockey League and play in a first line, second line role without kind of having that training camp in the preseason and be able to jump at that level for a 19-year-old would be hard to do.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe playing with players like that, the adjustment is easier.
Sure.
We don't know, and we're guessing, and whatever. But I feel really bad for the kid because I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in the lineup, and I think they had a strong feeling that he would have been in this lineup.
Yeah, obviously they kind of kept it open for him to make the team, or at least the first 6 games he would have played. And if he would have earned a spot throughout the rest of the season, he would have been there. But on top of Rossi hopefully becoming that guy someday, they've left their team pretty flexible from a cap standpoint with guys like Bjugstad and Bonino and Johansson, all on 1-year deals. They should have some cap space if they want, if the season's not going well and they want to trade before the deadline and get some more draft picks. They also drafted the Russian kid in the second round, who's a center. It's probably a few more years away than a Marco Rossi. But I think they've now at least set themselves up that if that big center ever does become available, whether it's via free agency or via trade, they've now given themselves the cap flexibility to be able to make that move if that does happen.
Without a doubt. I couldn't have said it any better. And that's why we have to be patient. And we know, you and I've talked about it, transition year. But let's see what they can do in the third.
Chris Scarella says Parise should not be on the first power play or playing cap. I'm assuming that means playing with Kaprizov. I don't know who else you put on the power play from before. I mean,
were you going to put
Johansson, Bonino?
Hey, Zach is the power play specialist. He scores his goals from in tight. You get a lot of goals from in tight, rebounds in front of the net, creating havoc, screens, tips. He tips as well as anybody in the league. Again, who are you going to put there?
CCAM 26 says, why can't we score on the power play? I think the power play has taken a little too much criticism over, especially last year. I think they were a middle of the road power play last year. They weren't a terrible power play, especially once Fiala got hot. But I know they didn't score, but the chances are there. And to me, you keep having those chances in the long run, they're going to score their fair share of power play.
They were 0 for 4 that period. I thought one of the power plays was really good. Another one was okay. I thought one was poor, but you're going to have that, and credit the other team. Sometimes they put a good kill on, but yeah, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by their power play, and Brandon, their power play is going to have to be good. I mean, if they're going to win games, for a team that doesn't score a lot of 5-on-5 goals, they've got to be really good on the power play.
We'll stick one more topic on the power play. Face-offs on number one power play concern. That's from Joel Hansen. Obviously, they don't have a center taking the draws.
No, I think they've been fine. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be a consideration, right? And a thought. Well, we don't have a center out there. Can this guy win draws? We'll see.
I think G Miller 9909 makes up a great point. I'm going to drop you for a second here, Pat, and just see if it. I'm hearing a little feedback. I'm not sure if the viewers are as well. I think G Miller 9909 makes a great point because we're all talking about the first power play unit, but power play 2 is where we have lost momentum. Power play 1 looks solid. That is where there's a big drop off after that first power play unit is out. You can't count on that second unit at all.
I would 100% agree with his assessment. No doubt about it. Second power play did not look, couldn't get in the zone. And, they broken plays, and yeah, it didn't look sharp.
What do you expect in the third period here, Pat? I still think you might get a push out of the Minnesota Wild.
Well, I think so too. Whether it's enough to come back, I wouldn't be shocked to see Kaprizov and Fiala put together in those strategic times, Brandon, when you have an opportunity. Hey, listen, they're down 2 goals. What do you have to lose? Every game's important. 56 game season. So I think you'll see a little bit of a desperate team here in the third.
All right, thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
All right, talk to you. Bye-bye.
All right, he's Pat Micheletti. I'm Brandon Mileski. Thank you so much for watching on all of KFAN's social media channels. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page, follow on Twitter, so you are always being notified when we do these in the future, because we'll kind of do these sporadically throughout the season, probably even more so on these late night games, the 9 o'clock games, when we're not doing Wild Fan Line. So thank you so much for watching. Wild down 3-1 entering the third period. Hopefully they can rally and make a comeback against the Los Angeles Kings. Go Wild.